Okay, really good win last week or Saturday night against Fresno. Talked about it after the game. Proud of our guys, how they played, went on the road, found a way to win. Started out real fast on both sides of the ball, overcame a little adversity against a good team who came back and, eventually took the lead. But for us to come back and win the game in the fourth quarter, I thought was an awesome achievement by our guys. A lot of guys played really well. I thought Patrick had another solid game. Warren Jackson and Marcus were the players of the game on offense. Defensively, I thought Jamal Hicks played an outstanding game along with Logan Stewart. Probably played another good game, having a key interception there. Brandon Crossley. Jamal was our player of the game. Just made a bunch of tackles and made a huge save there when they ran the power in I believe it was the fourth quarter. Yeah, fourth quarter. Ran the power play. We missed the tackle in the hole, and he ran the guy down, tackled him on the 8-yard line, and we held him to a field goal, which outstanding play. Devin Phillips played really well inside. He was our player of the game inside. And then Tron Folsom was our player of the game on special teams. He had 3 tackles on kickoff. Really proud of our kickoff team. The way they covered, we didn't have Braxton Davis in the game dealing with an illness, and those guys covered every kick and covered extremely well. Great win. We enjoyed the win, but now we got to move on to UNLV, who I think is playing extremely well, playing everybody tough. Went on the road and won in SEC country against Vanderbilt very convincingly. Has been able to score on really everybody they've played. You watch them on defense. I think they're extremely athletic and extremely fast. They've got a bunch of good athletes on their team. And I know they're going to be coming into this game fighting extremely hard like they have every week. That's been a trademark of coaches' teams, especially this year. I feel like they're playing extremely hard. It's going to be a big challenge for us.
Are they a little bit of a hard team to figure out just because of the results they've had? I mean, they're a field goal away from tying San Diego State right at the end and going into overtime. And at the same time, at other times, maybe they haven't played nearly as well.
I think it's just. I think this conference is a very good conference, and week in and week out, you got to get ready to play. They're right there with Fresno, and they end up turning the ball over in some bunches there, and the game got away from them in that game. And San Diego State played extremely hard at home and had a chance to send that game into overtime, like you said. They played Boise tough. Boise played pretty good defense against them, and it was hard for them to get on track offensively. But since they've gone to Keenan, is that Keenan? Had him at camp, yeah. Kenyon, I came Oblad. Ko. Good job, Ko. I'm terrible pronouncing names, but Ko. I think they've got some consistency on offense. Since he's come in, starting to find a little bit of rhythm. They've got good receivers offensively. They got a transfer from USC, Randall Grimes, who I thought was a really, really good player out of high school. We recruited him. Ko came to our camp. He's got a strong arm. Charles Williams was a guy that Coach Letson recruited. This is, extremely fast, one of the best rushers in the conference. Outran San Diego State's defense last week, and they're fast and athletic on defense. So, they're trying to find a way to win a ball game, and sometimes it takes just finding a way to win that one ball game to get them jump started, and kind of getting out of their own way like we've tried to do a couple times. But I think anytime you play in this conference, you better get ready for a ball game. I don't think anybody's head and shoulders above anybody.
Mike, when your team starts out struggling early on in the year, the outside perception is it's hard to keep your team together. The way you've talked, that hasn't been the case. What's impressed you most about how these guys have kind of stuck together as one and moved forward the way you have?
I think we've done an outstanding job of player leadership on this football team, players taking accountability for their actions, coaches taking accountability for their actions, and there's a lot of trust in that locker room right now. It's because everybody's pulling their own rope and or holding their own rope, and I think it showed, and able to fight through and kind of bounce back a little bit, and but we got to do it again this week, against a talented team with some speed.
Has that always been the case with the teams you've had in recent past?
Yeah, I think so. I think last year was a little bit different. I think, personally, I think that had a lot to do with my absence around the football team last year, and not being able to handle, some adverse situations when things didn't go well. I think now, we're handling it pretty good. I think we've always had, we have ups and downs, through every season, through every game. But I think for the most part, our guys have played hard and played together.
Couple big rivalry games coming after the UNLV game. Not to overlook UNLV, but how important do you think that makes this UNLV game just to keep the momentum?
I think this next game is very important because it's the next game. We talked about 3 weeks ago of finding a way to go to New Mexico and win that ball game and get healthy, and then playing these two. Finding a way to win these two ball games and get healthy for a stretch run against some rivalry opponents.
Cold weather type of week, do you know yet kind of how you'll prepare for that, knowing that Saturday, it looks like it won't be snowing, but it'll be pretty cold? Will you guys, be outside, or how do you balance that?
We're not going to go outside today, not because of it's cold weather, but because we're beat up football team. We played, a physical game the other night, and I thought the kids left it on the field. After that, we'll decide, I got to see the injury report and stuff like that, what we decide to do, how much we go in pads. It just depends. I don't know.
Do you think there's much generally to be said about, people have talked, cold weather team is fine playing in cold weather, does it matter that much? Obviously, you have kids coming from everywhere.
We've played well in cold weather, and hadn't played well in cold weather. I don't think it's had anything to do whether we go outside or not. Most of the time, we're outside. When I got here, they said if it got below 40 degrees, Coach Lubick went inside, and I've never used that. We go outside when it's 20, so, I've heard that he always went outside, but then from other people, but people inside the program said if it got below 40, he went inside. So who knows? If we lose, they'll say we didn't go outside enough. If we win, we were smart. So it doesn't matter. We got to find a way to win.
Hogan Stewart named Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week after that big interception. Just how have you seen him improve over the past couple weeks?
I thought he played a nice game. Both safeties have really played well the last few weeks. He had one misfit on an option play when he ran inside the tight end, and they had a big game. But other than that, I thought he played, really well. We talked about him getting an interception before the game. He needed one, and he came through, and really got to give, Crossley credit on that. He played tight coverage and had a little pressure inside, and made the guy throw it a little bit high. And anytime you throw a curl route high, you got a chance for an interception. And it was high and hot and bounced off his hands, and Logan was able to be at the right spot at the right time.
Mike, I saw as the team was leaving the field, you were quick to point to guys, hey, go thank your fans, go say hi to your parents, kind of enjoy this moment a little bit. Is that something that you think maybe had gotten away from them a bit when you started losing some, is just remembering how to enjoy a win?
No, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I don't know.
State Pride uniforms were a big hit last time. You bring them out again. Is there a different feeling from your players? They get excited about the uniform stuff. Do you?
Not really. I didn't know. Is this State Pride? I didn't even know it was State Pride Week, to be honest with you. I know they got excited about some hoodies we gave them. They like gear and like uniforms, but I did not. I didn't even know that. I should know that. I'm sorry, Chris, direct marketing over there. So that's this week. Well, we need to win in those uniforms. Have we won any game in those uniforms? I don't think so. We lost every game last year in all sports, right? Or 2 years ago? I think we did. Had some exciting games, in those uniforms. And I know those uniforms are a big hit, and I wasn't really sure about them, especially when we, decided to wear them against Boise because they were blue. And I think the initial date got screwed up somehow. I can't remember why, but then when I've told this story before, when I went on the road in state and recruited, and it wasn't just players, because you can't talk to players at that time, but administrators, people in school that were Colorado State fans, even people that weren't Colorado State fans, loved the uniforms because there's so much pride, in the state, people love our state flag. So I think it was awesome that we got to, we came up with that idea to represent our state. I'm sure the other school in state is a little jealous they didn't come up with the idea. I think it's, I think it's, you want to represent your state that you play in and live in, and I think it's awesome that we get to do that. We got to go do our part and try to win a game in those uniforms.
How do you feel like your offensive line performed?
And we'll break out the grays for everybody else that doesn't like those.
You think those have only been?
Players love the grays. It doesn't matter what players think. It's what.
How do you feel like your offensive line performed with Keith playing tackle, Barry having to move inside?
I thought they did a nice job. I was proud of Keith. It's been a frustrating year for Keith. He got beat out when we moved Nuri inside and went with Barry and TJ at the two tackles. He had didn't have a couple great scrimmages, and but he worked his way back in the rotation with a good attitude after a little bit of the disappointment settled in, and he got over it, and he worked his way back in, had a great attitude, and I thought he played really well in this game. And I was proud of the offensive line. They did a nice job. We protected really well. They got us on a couple protections that was not their fault. They had an extra guy. We kind of rolled the dice with the protection and the play action pass, and they got us twice. And I think Pat avoided the sack on both of them. But for the most part, it was good protection. One pressure we had was a back that gave up the pressure, and I think he got a holding anyway. But for the most part, we had a solid performance up front, and then we blocked well when we needed to in the run game. Now, we turned a couple guys free that I don't like. I don't like having lost yardage plays, and those were more missed assignments than guys, they're not guys getting whipped, which I don't like. I don't mind a guy getting whipped. I don't like when we turn a guy free because of missed assignment.
Big workload for Marcus, like 18 carries. What do you just do in practice now to kind of increase his stamina so he can handle workloads like that if necessary?
Well, his stamina is gonna increase because he's running with the ones, so he'll get more carries in practice. He's pretty healthy coming out of the game. I know he came out there at the end when he got rolled up, but we feel good about him. So he'll get a lot of work this week because he's got to see the blocking schemes and see how they're going to fit. But I think he's hungry. I think all three backs are hungry. I thought Jalen Thomas ran extremely hard in the game. Christian Hunter was in, and he had one of those plays where we turned a guy free, and he actually made him miss, and then we didn't got whipped. Another guy got whipped, or he might have had a positive gain. So I'd still like to get Christian some more carries, but the way Marcus ran gave us confidence, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing for Marcus. It's a good thing for our football team to see him go out there and run that way, not just through open holes, but to break some tackles. And it gave me confidence as a play caller.
Mike, in recent games, tight ends have become much more involved again in the passing game. Are those passes by design to the tight ends, or is that more Patrick making different progressions in his reads to get to the tight ends?
No, those two in the last 2 weeks were some of our 21 personnel designed to where he's either the first or second option based on the coverage. Against New Mexico, he was the first option based on the coverage. In this last one, he was the second option, and they were in a cover two and trying to go back to a quarters, and the corner was just late getting back, and Patrick did a good job of setting his feet to the flat route and setting the quarter down and then sticking it to Trey in the hole. And then 2 weeks in a row or 2 games in a row, Trey has broken tackles in the open field to go for a touchdown, and which is good to see. You'd always like to try to get your tight ends involved because I think they're a mismatch in the passing game, and it's a universal question for reporters to talk about a tight end, because everybody thinks you got Gronk or Travis Kelce, but a lot of our the things that Trey's been doing really well is blocking and staying in for protection too. We've been doing a lot of protection things to help our offensive line. So sometimes you can't get your tight end out all the time.
So Trey's not insisting that he be referred to as a big play threat now?
He's what?
Trey not insisting to be referred to as a big play?
No, he's a big play threat. When you catch it, you catch it and go score in the open field. It's you'd like to have give him more opportunities, but it's I think anybody we've thrown the ball to has done a nice job this year. It's just getting the ball off, but I think when you get the running game going, which we have the last couple weeks, and I think really Patrick's maturity and having Warren back helps a lot. Open it up for everybody else.
Has that been the most impressive thing though about Trey in his first 2 years is he's really developed into that old school two-way tight end?
Yeah, and that's what we thought when we signed him. He had a chance to be an attached tight end, a guy that could, get down the field vertically, could run underneath routes, and be able to block. I mean, on the one touchdown run that Marcus had going into the tunnel side, that he bounced out and outran the corner, number 2, Gaston. He took his man and drove him, 12 yards into the end zone. And, he's one of those guys the refs, kind of warn all the time that they're about to throw a foul on you, a penalty on him because he's always pancaking his guys. And then sometimes he gets over aggressive and does some stuff he shouldn't. But I'd rather have a guy like that than a guy, you're trying to get to be more physical. He's extremely physical. He made a huge third down catch for us in the game in the first quarter, sitting between 2 defenders. And Patrick, it was an option route would break out, and he read to sit down, and Patrick held him up and sat him down in the hole. And those two guys are getting on the same page, and so it's good to see.